So it's a pleasure to be here, and as said by Alois, the FENS is really restructuring its program. It has been active as an organization to represent European neuroscience and also focused on the educational side. I was recently elected as a chair of a new committee, and the committee will start moving, so everything that I will tell you is still very new, and we're implementing things, but I'll give you at least some ideas of what we're going. So FENS has been around for quite a while, particularly the educational program started strongly with the formation of NENS, the clustering of master programs and PhD programs in Europe that started in 2003. In 2007 there was made a budget available for training grants and exchange grants, and I'll give you some data and examples on that. So similar to what Alois just said, there are certain challenges, and one of the challenges that hopefully will come up also in the discussion is the idea of, can we define something that we all agree of, that a neuroscientist, of people that are currently from all these different disciplines active in neuroscience, what should they know? And within the NENS committees and also in the FENS committee and the governing council, this has been discussed extensively, and essentially FENS has decided that due to all kind of political, national regulations and laws and obstacles, FENS has decided not to really aim to implement a core training committee that would be valid throughout Europe. That doesn't mean that there are not ideas of what should be part of a curriculum, but we've decided that we have to face reality. Certificates, PhD degrees, master degrees are currently still being handed out by universities, and it's going to be a long time, we think, before universities will hand over that responsibility to, like, international organizations as FENS, and I guess that the Human Brain Project will have similar problems to deal with. So what we have decided to do in FENS is to build a program and restructure the program that we had over the last couple of years to try to provide an educational program that at least tries to tailor to the educational requirements and requests from students. So we try to approach a core curriculum by giving it to the students, but it's up to the students and their own individual organizations to actually make that work as a credited part of their training. So we have done a survey which is still ongoing, so if you haven't responded to the survey, the deadline is on the 30th of June. We now have over 500 respondents. I'm not going to show you the entire list of all the topics that were mentioned that were of interest, but if I just briefly try and cluster it, there's a lot of requests for training about existing courses on techniques. So what is the current status of techniques that have been used and are being used in all the different disciplines of neuroscience? So that also relates to what was mentioned in the Human Brain Project. What are the emerging techniques, and particularly emerging techniques that are on the edge of different disciplines? We had lots and lots of suggestions from students, like, this is maybe a new thing that is developing, and we would like to have a real good training on those interfaces between different fields. Computational neuroscience, analysis tools of large databases was mentioned. There were lots and lots of requests for hands-on technical training courses where people could actually be trained doing techniques. But also, as was discussed this morning, how do we deal with career possibilities? NENS is currently in touch with over 10,000 PhD students. So if all those PhD students on an average of 4 years finish their PhD, Europe will generate 2,500 PhD students each year. Where do they find their positions? And should we, aside from looking for positions in academia, actually try to train, to provide training possibilities for students to look into other possibilities? Industry is one, but you can also think about research management, working governmental organizations, etc., etc. So that was all part of the survey, and the results will be made public as soon as the survey has been analyzed properly. So What we've done is build on the current existing activities, and we decided to maintain a few, but also to restructure a few. So the BRAIN conferences that are organized in collaboration with the BRAIN Prize, that happen twice a year in spring and autumn, will be continued. And as you can see here, we have one scheduled in October of this year. And very recently, the Executive Committee of FENS approved the two 2015 conferences, at least the themes. We're currently working on the people that will actually organize the course. We have the chairs for this one. This one is almost done, but the first course will be on higher cognitive functions, and the second one in autumn will be on sleep and circadian rhythms. So those topics are chosen based on the surveys that we do that we get back from the students. So we try to cover as much of the requests from the students. So the additional thing that we do is looking into organizing training facilities or opportunities and actually provide the means for students to actively participate in training. And I want to focus on this new training program, which was launched this year, the Cajal training program, for which the CHET was installed by FENS. And this is a collaboration between FENS and IBRO. And the good thing is that there is actually funding for the training program. And what I'm really very happy with is that FENS has decided to have a contract with two training sites in Bordeaux, the Bordeaux Neurocampus and the Champlemeau Foundation, where we will have permanent training facilities available for courses that are organized, like, for example, the Woods Hole courses or the Cold Spring Harbor courses, where students can go in and take a course of 2 weeks or even 3 or 4 weeks. Everything will be organized. There will be lab facilities to actually do experimental work, get trained, get speakers in, interact with speakers, people that actually do the kind of research that you would like to be trained in. So this program is fully funded through the financial means of FENS. So it opens an enormous possibility for people to really get hands-on training in the field of neuroscience. So for the coming years, because this is all brand new, we decided on 4 topics in 2015. Bordeaux will organize 2 courses, one on bioinformatics and neuroscience and one on molecules and the interactions of molecules at the synaptic level. So how is synaptic transmission shaped? The courses are being implemented and the chairs, organizing committees, the lectures are currently being established. Champlemeau will organize a course in behavioral neuroscience and computational neuroscience. In 2016, we will have 6 of those courses organized. And the goal of the CHET and the Governing Council and FENS in total is to have a program that has a number of reappearing courses. So they will reappear like every 2 years or depending on the amount of the request. And there will be new courses added depending on requests from students. So we will have a core series of lectures or courses and will fluctuate or change between different courses. So that's the concept. The contract with the 2 training sites is that the training labs are available full year round. So we could actually generate a lot of courses if we can find additional financial means. The budget of FENS is not endless, so we have to come up with additional funding. But for now, the contract is very generous and will provide us with lots of training facilities. There's housing, there's catering, everything that you need as a student to really dive into a course, to interact with students and to network at a European level. So we're really very enthusiastic about this possibility, and it is the role of the new committee that I'm luckily chairing to actually make this all work. So if you have any ideas or any input, I really would appreciate it. So, as I said, NENS is organizing over 10,000 PhD and master students. We do have an enormous spread in Europe of institutes that are participating in NENS. And in addition to organizing courses, we actually provide grants for people to travel and go to other institutes, to other labs, to actually get trained. So initially there was a program that supported travel within the European system, and there was a separate program that allowed people from Japan and China to come to Europe and people from Europe to go to China and Japan. That program was meant to be supported for job interviews. We've decided to now reorganize that and embed this Asian side of the program into the training program, such as to provide European students to actually have training opportunities in Japan and China, and we're currently negotiating with Australia, and also have students from those 3 countries/continents to come to Europe for training. So really to make it an even larger international program. To add to that, I have to mention that there's a very strong and serious commitment from both FENS and SFN to run their training in parallel. And with that, I would like to end. This is a very brief overview of what the new training program for FENS is going to look like. These are the people or the parties that are involved in FENS, that support FENS. And there's just one very striking thing about this slide. If you remember what we have been discussing this morning, there's essentially a lot of public organizations that support FENS, but there aren't that many companies that are involved in FENS. So I think that's a key challenge for the training program of FENS, to actually make it also reach out to industry, whatever type of industry, to get them involved into the training program. Thank you very much.